Hello, we are finishing up the 7.5 notes. So we will start with just some areas of caution that maybe you have already run into, but just be careful. Don't confuse the z-scores and the areas, which are the probabilities. Okay, remember z-scores tell us how far away the value is from the mean. So they are the scores along the horizontal axis. And they tell us how many standard deviations the value is from the mean. Okay, so the z-score lets me know how far away from the mean it is, does not tell me the probability. The area, which the numbers we get from the table, okay, somebody a long time ago figured out all these numbers. Those numbers are the regions under the graph, and those, the areas are the regions under the normal curve. And then we need to make sure you're choosing the correct left or right. So the table always gives us to the left. So if we need to the right, we need to make sure we're doing 1 minus. Z-scores are negative whenever they are located to the left of the mean. So if we are below the mean, I have a negative z-score. That's how we know it's below, it's negative. Okay? And then the areas of the probabilities, they could be positive, they could be 0, but they can't be what kind of a number? We can't have a negative probability. Okay, you can't have a negative percent of something happening. It's either 0 or it's some percent. All right? So these next two questions take a little bit of thinking, but we'll do some practice with them. I am looking at the same students from example 5. So we have a mean of 79 and a standard deviation of 7.4. Sorry, this is from example 4. Thought something looked weird. Okay. So we're still looking at that, but the mean and the standard deviation have changed. I want to know the score, so I'm looking for the score. I'm not looking for the probability. You would need to achieve to be in the top 10%, add a percent sign there, of the class for this test. So I'm looking for the score, not the percent, but I'm given the percent. So when we draw a picture, so we can draw a picture here. Okay, so if the mean's in the middle, the top 10% would be up here, right? That's the top 10%. So I'm looking for this z-score that separates the top 10% from the lower rest of the percentage, okay? So then the table, so if this is my z-score, right? If I know that this here is 0.10, the table gives me the shaded region. What's the shaded region if this is 0.10? Or 10%? What's the other half of 10%? Or the other part of 10% to get to 100? 90%. So this is going to be 0.90. The table gives me 0.90. So whatever that z-score is, it's going to separate the lower 90% and the upper 10%. So it kind of goes with both of them. All right? So what we need to do, and it's above the mean, so the z-score is going to be positive, so we'll be looking on the positive side. I need to look in this table for the number closest to 0.900. Okay? Because if I can find that, I know that the z-score equals the value minus the mean over the standard deviation. So if I have that z-score, I can plug it in and then work my way backwards to solve for that variable, okay? So when you look in here, you'll notice that they do go in order. So just find some 9s. Or here's 8, 9. Here we go. So here is 8, 9, 9, 7, and 9, 0, 1, 5. So notice this is like 15 away from 0.90. This is only 3 away. So I'm going to use this one. But I'm not taking this number, right? I don't want the probability. I use that number to get the z-score. So I follow it all the way over, 1.2, and all the way up, 8. So you need to get the tens and the hundreds place for the z-score, 1.28. So this z-score is 1.28, so I can replace this z now with 1.28. Okay, and that's a simple algebra problem. We need to multiply by 7.4 first. Those will cancel out, and we get 9.472 equals x minus 79. And I'm going to add 79. And that value, x is 88.472. Okay, so you would need a score of 88.472 or higher to be in the top 10%. Okay? So if you're in the top 10%, you are doing better than 90%, than the lower 90%, and that z-score is 1.28. Then I can work my way backwards to get the actual score. Okay? So I'd like you to try this next one on your own, and then we will go over it together. So this is the picture that you guys should have. If I want the lightest 2%, that's going to be all the way to the left. So this will be the lightest 2%. So if you didn't have that, fix that, find the z-score that goes with 0.02 in the table, and then continue solving. All right, so if you looked up 0.02 in the table, you would have gotten a z-score of negative 2.05. So I fill that in for z, multiply by 495, add the 3420, and you get 2,405.25 grams. That's going to separate the lightest 2% from all of the others. Okay, and this number should make sense. It's below the mean, so we can always do a couple quick logical checks, right? It's below the mean, so the z-score you got was negative, which was good, and it's less than the mean, so the mean was 3420. This number is less than that, which we expected because it's the lightest 2%, so that number also kind of makes sense, and that separates the lightest 2% from all of the others. Okay, so we'll do a couple practice problems, and then if you guys need any help, just please make sure you are reaching out, or you can join the Zoom during class. We'll probably be doing practice problems there too. So just please make sure you guys are reaching out if you need any help, or once you do the homework and I go over the homework, make sure you're asking questions on that. All right, have an excellent day.